So, good. Magandang araw, everyone. So, ngayon, our topic is all about accounts receivable. Okay? So, accounts receivable. So, ano ba yan? Pag sinabi natin sa accounting na accounts receivable, dahil receivable siya, meron tayong ina-expect na ma-receive. Okay? Meron tayong ina-expect na matatanggap. So, account receivable means may utang sa atin. So, yun yung pag-aaralan natin. Paano natin i-account? Paano natin lalagyan ng entry? How are we going to record yung measurement? Paano ba mag-measure ng accounts receivable? So, all about that yung mga pag-uusapan natin, then the types of accounts receivable. So, ito yung knowledge that we can get here in this video. We have to know the classification and presentation of receivable. How do we classify accounts receivable? How do we present it? Then the initial and subsequent measurement. How do we measure accounts receivable? Identify the adjustments necessary in determining the net realizable value. Understanding the gross and net method of recording credit sales. And to know accounting for doubtful account or worthless account, written off and recovery some accounts written off. So yan yung mga lessons we are going to talk in this video. So, as for the beginning, syempre, we need to know ano ba yung receivables. So, the receivable are financial asset. So, if titingnan natin ang kanyang category, we can classify accounts receivable as asset. Okay? Resources natin yan kasi these represent a contractual right to receive cash or another financial asset from another entity. So, yan daw. So, resources daw natin yan, which is rights natin to receive cash or another financial asset from another entity. So, pinag-uusapan natin point of view natin sa point of view ni business. So, si business, syempre, once na nagpautang siya, syempre, at the near future, di ba? Kahit di business, kahit kayo, once na nagpautang kayo, in near future, you want it to be returned back. So, yun yung accounts receivable. Ang accounts receivable nga lang, in terms of sa business, marami kasi siyang sources. Hindi lang porket labas ka ng money, nagpautang ka ng pera, hindi lang gano'n. So, for retailers and manufacturers, there are two types of receivable na classification niya, either trade or non-trade receivables. So, sabi ko sa inyo, yung receivables kasi, hindi lang yan automatic na pag nagpahiram ka ng pera, receivables na. Pwedeng anong nangyari ng, kasi in manufacturing or retails, di ba, nagbebenta ka. So, inutang nila yung paninda mo. So, yung pag-utang nila ng paninda mo na yun is classified as accounts receivable yun. And according to our book, there are two types of classification of receivables for the retailers and manufacturers. These are trade receivables and non-trade receivables. Pag sinabi natin na trade receivables, ito yung receivables natin acquired or arising from sale of merchandise. So, pag nagbenta tayo ng product and services natin na in-offer, then inutang sa atin yun. Pagkabenta natin, ay, sir, pwede po ba wala kasi akong cash yun? So, utangin ko muna. So, that's classified as trade receivable. Basta, ang pinaka-root word natin na gagamitin, ordinary course of business. How do we know if receivable is trade or not? Pag yung receivable arises during the transaction of in the ordinary course of our business. Ano ba yung in ordinary course of our business na yan? So, ang gusto sabihin dyan, if arising siya dun sa main na sa main product na binibenta natin or kung ano man yung ino-offer na product or service ng company, kung doon nag-a-arise, kaya nagkaroon ng receivable ay dahil nangutang siya nung product na binibenta natin or dahil inutang niya muna yung service na pinerform natin, which is yun talaga yung product or service na ino-offer ng company. That's why ordinary course of business siya. So pag other than ordinary course of business, sabi natin, nangutang ng pera sa'yo, hindi naman ikaw lending company, di ba? Kung lending company ka na nangutang ng pera sa'yo, ordinary course of business mo yun. Pero kung nagtitinda ka ng mga paninda ng product or you are performing services, pag nanghiram sa'yo ng pera, it's not ordinary course of business. So, hindi siya trade receivables. Yung trade receivables is arising lang siya doon sa pag-perform natin ng service or pagbenta natin ng product, which is yun yung product or service na ino-offer natin ng business natin. Ang kasama daw sa trade receivables ay account receivables or note receivables. Yung note receivables, yan yung mga promissory note. Kasi pag sinabi natin na account receivable, so pwede yung verbal agreement lang between the two. Yung notes receivable kasi, there is meron na kayong evidence na nangutang siya sa iyo, which is yung notes, promissory notes that I am going to pay the amount of this, yung gano'n yung mga nakasulat. So, accounts receivable are open account arising from the sale of goods and services in ordinary course of business and not supported by promissory note. So, pinakaiba lang ng accounts receivable at note receivable ay yung promissory note. So, other names for accounts receivable, customer's account, trade debtor, and trade accounts receivable. So, pag tinanong kayo ano ang difference between accounts receivable and notes receivable, si notes receivable is supported by promissory note, while si accounts receivable is not. Pero, same sila ng qualification, ng classification, which is trade receivable. So, we already know yung trade, which is yun yung ating day-to-day operation ng business, di ba? Kung nagbebenta ka ng product, pag minamutang sa'yo ng product na binibenta mo, so trade receivables yun. So, ano naman yung non-trade receivables? Pag sinabi natin na non-trade receivables, it represents claims arising from source other than sale of merchandise or service in ordinary course of business. So, yun naman yung sinasabi ko. So, may pinautang tayo ng pera. Nagpautang tayo ng pera sa empleyado natin. So, hindi naman tayo lending company kasi yung lending company, ang trabaho talaga nila is magpautang ng pera. Di ba? So, dahil hindi tayo lending company, it's not considered ordinary course of business natin. So, kasi ang ordinary course of business lang natin, magbenta ng merchandise or offer ng service natin. So, dahil hindi siya arising from doon, so it's non-trade receivable. So, ganun lang naman yun eh. Not arising from ordinary course of business, non-trade na yun. So, lahat sila non-trade na. Maliban na lang doon sa arising from business, ordinary course of business natin. Another type of receivable is loans receivable. Ito naman is, so, pwede ito sa mga banks and other financial institutions. Kasi ang pwede di ba silang mag-offer ng kanilang service is or product as yung loan nga, di ba? The loans are made to heterogeneous customer and the repayment period are frequently longer or several years. So, yung loan receivable na yan is for sa mga banks and financial institutions. classification ng trade receivable. Ang trade receivable natin is asset. Ang receivable, lahat ng receivable ay asset. Tandaan nyo, asset siya. Ngayon, ang problema na lang, i-classify ba natin siya as current asset or non-current asset? It depends. Okay. Yung trade receivables, always current yan. Tandaan niya, pag nakakita ka ng trade receivables, it is always current asset. Yung maliban na lang pag notes receivable. May ano siya eh. Yung notes receivable, pag ang kanyang term is more than 1 year. Pag more than 1 year yung term ng notes receivable mo, yan ay non-current. Okay? Pero pag 1 year or less lang siya, that is classified as current asset. So non-trade receivable, ganun din. You can classify is a current if within 1 year masisingil mo na siya. Then if cannot be hindi makakapagbayad within 1 year or hindi masisingil within 1 year, it's considered non-current asset. That is according to our Philippine Accounting Standard 1. Financial statement paragraph 6 state that an entity shall classify an asset as current when the entity expects to realize the asset or intended to sell or consume it in the entity's normal operating cycle. So it's not just for accounts receivable. Hindi lang siya for accounts receivable. This is applied to all current asset. If yung asset daw natin, yung PSA 1, paragraph 66, PAS1, PAS 1, paragraph 66 is applicable also to other assets, which is, sinasabi niya doon, pag it will be consumed or ibebenta siya or it is to be realized on a entity's normal operating cycle, it should be classified as current. Ngayon, ang problema mo na lang, how do we classify the entity's normal operating cycle? Yung normal operating cycle ng isang entity is, it can be calendar year or it can be fiscal year. Pero, it's always 12 months. So, pag within 1 year, gagamitin mo na siya, masisingil mo na siya, ibebenta mo na yung asset, it is called current asset. Aside from that, pag lumampas ng 1 year, automatic it will be non-current asset. So how are we going to present it? Present natin yung trade and other receivable. Ito, ang presentation na ito na sinasabi niya is in the financial statement. Paano ba natin i-present sa financial statement yung accounts receivable? So it is presented in the financial position as one line item. Actually, siya ay second sa cash. One line item siya. And that is called trade and other receivables. So, nandiyan na yung lahat ng receivables natin. Okay? So, the details of total trade and other receivables shall be disclosed in notes of financial statement. So, for example, sa financial position, makikita nyo na lang dyan, total trade and other receivable 6.3. Pero sabi niya rito, we need to disclose yung details ng 6,300. So pag tinignan nyo yung notes to financial statement, makikita nyo doon yung laman ng trade and other receivables. So dito we have accounts receivable, 5 million. So we have allowance for doubtful accounts. So nakita nyo naman, doubtful account. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga pautang natin na baka hindi na mabayaran. So binawas natin. Notes receivable, 1 million. We have interest on notes receivable, advances. So dividends received. This is current receivables lang siya. Kasi nakahiwala yung non-current receivables. Okay? So, ayan siya. example of non-trade receivables ay na ito. So alam na natin yung trade receivable, di ba? Basta arising from the ordinary course of business, yun na yung trade receivable. Paano naman po yung non-trade receivables? May mga sample po ba tayo? So, meron tayong mga sample. So, ito yan. So, first is advances or receivables from shareholders, directors, officer, or employee. So, baka nangutang bumali yung empleyado. Yung bali na yon is sorry pala, hindi pala bale. Nangutang, nag-loan. Kasi pag bali pala bawas sa sweldo yun. So, nangutang si employee, nangutang si shareholder, si director, si officer. So, ang tawag doon is advances to officers and employees. That is, if it's collectible within 1 year, should be classified as current. Kasama siya doon. But if not collected within 1 year, not collectible within 1 year, it is classified as non-current asset. Okay? Advances to affiliates are usually treated as long-term investment. So pag nagpautang tayo sa mga affiliates natin, ang affiliates natin ito yung mga ano to, mga ano nga to, mga sister and mga mother company, mga ganon, parent, yung mga subsidiary company natin. Pag sa affiliates tayo nagpautang, it's not treated as like receivables but an investment. So, advances to supplier, yan, nagpautang tayo sa supplier, automatic current asset yan. Subscription receivable, ito, nag-arise to pag nag-issue ka ng stocks. Pag nag-issue ka kasi ng stocks, dapat magsusubscribe yung mga kung sino man yung gusto bumili ng stock natin. So, if nag-subscribe sila at hindi pa nila nababayaran, subscription receivable ang tawag doon. It can be collected within 1 year, we can classify it as current, or if more than 1 year siya, yung subscription receivable should be shown as deduction from subscribed share capital. Okay? Pag within 1 year, subscription receivable current asset, pag lumampas siya, deduction na lang siya doon sa subscribed share capital natin. Creditors account, so parang ganito din yan sa advances to supply. Creditor account may be debited as a result of overpayment. So, ito pala, sorry. Pag nagkaroon ng overpayment, so pwede daw natin i-debit yung ating receivables. These are classified as current asset. Pag nagkaroon tayo ng overpayment, so, ayan, if the debit balance are not material, an offset may be made against creditors account which with credit balance, only the net accounts payable may be presented. So, kunwari may utang tayo, tapos may utang din siya sa atin, ganun. So, pag pwede na daw ipag-offset yun. So, special deposits on contract with if ito ay if the amount is not material. Hindi naman gano'ng kalakihan kung 5 piso lang naman yung difference. So, why not? So, pero pag material siya, so, hindi natin siya pwedeng i-offset. So, special deposits on contract liens normally are classified as non-current asset. So, here, dito, tinuturuan na kayo, ano ba ang gagawin? Kasi in accounting or also in auditing, i-check mo yung classification kasi doon ng receivable. Tama ba na nasa current asset to? Tama ba na nasa non-current asset? So, paano makikita yon? So, here, ito na sinasabi niya na special deposit on contract. So, pag tayo, pag nagkaroon tayo na nag-deposit tayo, advance, parang advance payment kasi yan eh. Doon sa contract na gagawin natin, di ba? pwede daw siya natin i-classify as non-current pag because such deposit are likely to remain outstanding for considerable long period, lalo na pag this is for contract needs. Pero if collectible siya within currently, pwede natin siyang ilagay as current asset. So accrued income such as dividend received, accrued rent receivable, accrued royalties receivable are classified as current asset. Tandaan yan. So here, accrued income natin and dividends receivable is part of our trade and other receivables. So here, claims receivable such as claims against common carriers for loss or damages, claims for rebate and taxes, refunds, claims for insurance are classified as current asset under the general trade and other receivables. Ito yung sinasabing customer's credit balance. Yung customer credit balance, may utang si customer sa atin. Kaya lang siya ay nagkaroon ng credit balance sa receivable kasi nagsobra siya ng payment. This credit balance are classified as current liability. Pag nasobrahan ng bayad sa atin, so sabihin natin, ang utang niya sa atin, ito, here, sabi niya dito, the account receivable controlling account reported a balance of 500. Examination of subsidiary reveals the following data for customers. We have sales of 800. Collection niya 400, so may natirang 400 na hindi pa nakakolect. Si customer A. Si customer B, 600. So, collection niya 450. May 150 pa na kulang. So, ito, 500. May collection tayo. May itong sales na sinasabi niya dito, nagbenta ka on account. Sa sales 800 daw, ang nakolekta na daw natin yun is 400. Ang natira na lang is 400 na. Hindi pa nababayaran. Ganun din kay B. Pagdating kay C, sales natin na 500, pero meron siya credit balance. Yung credit balance na yan, siguro that arise from previous transactions sa sobrang siya ng bayad dati. So here, yung collection natin is 100. Ay, sorry. May nag-return pala kasi. Ayan. Nag-return tayo na may nag-return sa atin na 100. Dapat ang utang niya na lang ay 450. Ay 400 na lang. Pero ang binayaran niya ay 450. May credit balance siya ngayon na 500. So, kung titingnan natin daw dito, ang accounts receivable account natin ay ito na lang, 400 plus 150, that is 550. Then, yung credit balance ni C, kasi ang balance niya ay credit. So, this is classified as current liability and may not be offset against the debit balance of A and B. So, ganon. So, pag meron kang ibang customer, you cannot offset daw yung balance na nagkaroon ng negative kasi nagkaroon ng overpayment. No adjustment is necessary to formalize the recognition of credit balance because ultimately these are canceled for sales and settlement. But an adjusting may be made only for worksheet purpose. So dito ibabalik natin sa accounts receivable tapos magkakaroon tayo ng customer credit balance na 50,000. Itong customer credit balance na to is liability. Para mag-debit tayo ng 50,000 na accounts receivable para zero na yung accounts receivable natin. Yun. So here, we have initial measurement of accounts receivable. We have, according to the PFRS 9, paragraph 5-1, that financial asset shall be recognized initially at fair value. So, ang receivable pala or lahat ng financial asset should be recognized initially at fair value. Ibig sabihin nun, pag nag-record tayo niyan sa aklat, dapat at fair value. Ang tanong, ano po yung fair value ng financial asset? Usually daw the transaction price. So, kung magkano yung inutang natin sa atin, yun yung transaction price, di ba? Kung magkano yung inutang niya na value ng tinda natin, that is the fair value of our receivables. The fair value of consideration given, yung binigay natin, kunwari, nag-utang siya ng gasolina or gasol, 1,000 pesos. So, pag na-record natin yan, accounts receivable, 1,000 pesos. For short-term receivable, fair value is equal to the face amount or the original invoice. So, ayun na nga. Kung 1,000 yung inutang mo sa akin, 1,000 yung accounts receivable sa iyo. Yun yung face value niya. But if it's for long-term receivables, kasi ang ginagawa natin yan, kinukuha natin yung kanya. Yung fair value niya is yung discounted value. Sabi dito, accordingly, accounts receivable shall be measured initially at face amount or the original invoice amount. So pag meron tayong accounts receivable na nakita, yung kung magkano yung inutang sa atin, yun yung accounts receivable. But after the initial measurement, kasi pwede natin siyang, yung initial measurement, yun yung pag-recognize natin ng asset sa aklat. Kaya lang, sabi niya, subsequent measurement or every year or every time na nagagawa ka ng report, you need to measure receivable at amortized cost. So initially at fair value, then later on after 1 year, gagawa ka ng report, mo na siya, i-measure mo siya using amortized cost or the net realizable value of accounts receivable. Paano po yung ganun, sir? Bakit magkaiba? Kunwari po, may naka-record na 1 million na accounts receivable sa akin. Yun yung initial ko, yun yung face value. Subsequent measurement po at amortized cost na siya. Yung amortized cost po kasi na yan, ang gusto niyang sabihin kasi dyan, baka dun sa 1 million na receivable mo, may hindi ka masingil. Baka may hindi na magbayad. So yung mga hindi nagbayad na yun, na accounts receivable, tanggalin mo na. Baka kasi may mga namatay na or nalugi na yung business, they cannot pay na. So, at net realizable value na natin i-measure yung ating receivable. Kasi yung net realizable value, yan na yung pinaka face value niya kung i-check natin siya ngayon. The term amortized cost has more relevance in long-term note receivable. So, ang gagamitin daw natin is the NRV or net realizable value pag accounts receivable. The NRV is, so ano yung NRV ng accounts receivable natin? So, NRV is the amount of cash expected to be collected or estimated receivable amount. So, kasi ganun nga yung gagawin natin. I-check pa natin. So, ito bang customer na ito, makakapagbayad pa kaya? So, if nakita natin na bankrupt na siya at hindi na makapagbayad, so tanggalin na natin yung accounts receivable natin sa kanya. Pero hindi yung ganun kasi i-check mo muna. So, here we have, paano daw kunin yung net realizable? We have net realizable value. Ito yung babawas natin para makuha natin yung NRV. Okay? Yung kung may pay charges, tanggalin natin yung allowance for pay charges, allowance for sales return, allowance for sales discount, allowance for doubtful account. So yun yung mga apat na yan is deduction siya sa trade account receivable para mag-arrive tayo dun sa NRV niya or net realizable value. So, ang gagawin natin, total receivable minus allowance for pay charge, minus allowance for sales return, sales discounts, and then doubtful account. So, yung matitira, yun na yung bagong nating receivable, which is yung NRV of our receivable, net realizable value. So, the term related to pay charges The following should be understood. FOB destination, shipping point, freight collect, and freight prepaid. This was discussed during your BSA 1. So if you already forget this, so balikan namin siya. So yung sa freight charges daw, may dalawa tayong klase ng freight charges. Pwede siyang FOB destination or FOB shipping point. Okay? And yung dalawang klase ng payment, we have freight collect and freight prepaid. Pag sinabi natin na FOB destination means that the ownership of good is vested in the buyer upon receipt thereof. So pag FOB destination, ang mangyayari niyan, ako, as seller ako, pag nagbenta ako ng goods, ako yung magdi-deliver kay buyer. Okay? So, upon delivery, kung kailan niya lang ma-receive, doon pa lang, masasabi ko na nasa sa kanya na. So, at the point of destination, from the point na lumabas sa akin yung product, hanggat hindi pa nakakarating sa kanya yun, sa akin pa rin yung ownership ng goods na yun. Sabi dito, kaya pag ano, the seller shall be responsible for freight charges upon the point of destination. So, yung delivery cost na sinasabi niya dyan, yung cost ng pag-deliver ng product from seller to buyer, ang magso-shoulder ng si seller. Upon, ang term natin ay FOB destination. Pag sa shipping point naman, si seller will be responsible only up to the point of shipment. So, pag na-ship ko na yung product, wala na, sa'yo na yun. So, dito sa shipping point, ang mag-shoulder ng delivery cost ay si buyer. Ano naman yung freight collect? Freight collect means the freight charge on the goods ships is not yet paid. So, pag sinabi natin na not collect, hindi pa bayad. Yung kasi di ba may gano'n, we have cash on delivery. Parang gano'n yung freight collect eh. Cash on delivery. Tapos yung pwede rin naman daw na freight prepaid, binayaran na bago pa na-deliver. So wala ka ng problema. So magkakaroon lang ng problema dyan dun sa term kasi pag freight collect, ang dapat kukolektahin pa kasi hindi pa nababayaran. Di ba? So pag shipping point, ang pinaka-ideal dyan, dapat shipping point and freight collect para ang magbayad ay si buyer. Kasi pag shipping point, wala nang pakialam si seller pag na-deliver na. So, kay buyer na yon. So, dapat si delivery, ang sisingilin niya, si buyer. Okay? Thus, under this, the freight charge is actually paid by the buyer. Pag freight prepaid kasi nagbayad na to, binayaran na ni seller agad yung delivery cost. So, accounting for freight charges, sometimes goods are sold at FOB destination but freight collect. So, pag ganun, dapat ang nangyari, kay seller yung delivery pero ang nagbayad ay si buyer, with the understanding that the buyer will pay for the freight charge and deduct the same or the remittance is made by them. So, ganun ang mangyayari daw dito. Pag FOB destination and freight collect, kasi FOB destination, seller ang bala sa delivery, pero ang nagbayad ay si buyer kasi freight collect. Pwede daw ibawas na ni buyer dun sa cost ng product na inutang niya. Okay? Ito example para mas we have 100,000 accounts receivable. Ang term niya is 2 over 10 and 30 FOB destination freight collect. The customers na nagbayad si buyer 5,000. So parang pag ganyan, may utang ako kay buyer na 5,000, di ba? So accounts receivable, freight out 5,000 kasi freight out is FOB destination, freight. Pag ikaw sa seller, pag ikaw yung nagbenta, tawag doon freight out. Pero pag ikaw bumili, freight in yun. Or transportation out or transportation in. So ito, freight out 10, Ang sales natin dito ay 100, then may allowance for freight charges tayo na 5,000. To record the collection within the discount period, so ito siya, we have cash 93 kasi binawas yung 5,000 na utang natin plus yung discount na 7,000. So 93 lang yung ma-receive ko. Kasi yung 5,000, ako dapat magkabayad na to, binayaran na ni buyer, bawas na lang daw dun sa cost ng product. So allowance for sales return. So magkakaroon lang ng allowance for freight charges pag ang term natin ay FOB destination, freight collect. Kasi pag ganito, ako dapat as seller yung magbabayad, nagbayad si buyer, may utang ako sa kanya, allowance for freight charges yon. Okay. Yung allowance for freight charges is deduction to our accounts receivable. So, another is allowance for sales return. It measures accounts receivable, also recognize probability some customer will return goods that are unsatisfactory or will make the other claims requiring a reduction of the amount due. So, yung allowance for sales return, baka daw kasi may mga customer tayo na hindi satisfied sa product na binibenta natin, ibabalik na lang nila yung product. So, pag ganon, magkakaroon tayo ng sales return. So, yung sales return, then allowances for sales return. Yun yung ating entry, 50,000. So, yung allowances for sales return na to is deduction siya sa accounts receivable natin. Same din siya dun sa discount. Yung discount din natin, pag may allowance for sales discount, this is also deduction from our accounts receivable. So, also the allowance for doubtful account, which is yun yung allowances kasi baka hindi na natin masingil yung customer natin, either namatay na siya or tumakbo na siya ng ibang bansa, hindi na natin makita. So, there are two types of recording credit sales. Ito is pag magre-record na tayo ng benta natin ng on account. Okay, pag sabi kong on account, ibig sabihin ng utang, nagbenta tayo ng utang, inutang sa atin. So, there are two ways daw on how to record yung credit sales natin. It's either gross method or net method. Accounts receivable and sales are recorded at gross amount. And yan yung ating ginagamit kahit outside, when you do your work outside, gross method madalas yung ginagamit. Kasi kung magkano yung total ng utang, sige, ilagay na natin. Net method, accounts receivable and sales are recorded at net. Naka-net na siya. Pag net method, ibabawas na lahat agad. So, tingnan natin yung illustration between the net and the gross method. Gross method, nagbenta tayo. Pag hindi niya sinabi kung nagbenta ba tayo ng for cash or accounts, pag may nakita kayo na term na ganito, 5/10 and 30, ibig sabihin na to, inutang sa atin niya. Kasi ito yung term ng kanyang utang na pag binayaran niya within 10 days, may discount ng 5%. So ito utang to. Pag sa gross method, dahil at gross amount tayo, accounts receivable 100, sales 100. Pag nagkaroon ng collection within the discount period, i-avail niya yung discount. We have cash 95, sales discount ng 5,000, and accounts receivable of 100,000. Assume that hindi niya na-avail yung discount. So, ito entry natin, cash 100, then AR 100 credit. Sa net method, pag nagbenta tayo ng merchandise, ayan, naka-net na. Tinanggal na agad yung discount kahit hindi pa. So, pag na-collect within the discount period, wala na tayong problema, cash AR 95. Pero pag hindi niya na-collect within discount period, so magkakaroon tayo ng another account, which is sales discount forfeited. Yung sales discount forfeited is classified as other income. Okay. Allowance for sales discount. If a customer granted cash discount for from payment, then conceptually estimates of cash discount can often on open account at the end of the period based on the past experience shall be made. So, pwede na daw tayo mag-estimate kung lagi namang nag-avail ng discount sa atin. So, pwede na daw natin i-estimate yung allowances na discounted amount na natin. Ganito siya. Sabihin natin, for example, meron tayong accounts receivable na 1 million. At the end of the period, in-estimate daw natin na may discount yan na 50,000. So, ang entry natin dyan, we have sales discount 50, then allowance for sales discount 50,000. Ito, ginagawa natin itong, sir, bakit ba kailangan pa mag-estimate? Ba't hindi na lang natin hintayin na mag-avail ng discount? Kasi baka tapos na yung aklat. Kasi every year kasi, yung sa accounting, nagsasara tayo ng book. So at the end of the year, may nakita siya na 1 million na AR. So sabi niya, ay usually kasi pag ganyan, 50,000 dyan, discount nag-avail ng discount. So may 50,000 ako. At the end of the year, sige, I will estimate na 50,000 na discount yan. So ganun yung gagawin. So ito, yung allowance for sales discount na to is deduction from accounts receivable natin. So here, allowance for bad debts. Yung bad debts na yan yung masamang utang. Ibig sabihin, utang na hindi nagbayad. Bad debts. Business entity sells on credit rather than on cash, only on cash to increase the total sales, thereby increasing income. However, some entities, syempre, pag nagpautang ka, hindi mo yan 100% guaranteed that you will collect it 100%, di ba? So, dahil pag ganun, so, pwede kang mag-set up ng allowance pa, which is allowance for doubtful account. When an account becomes uncollectible, the entity has sustained bad debt loss. This loss is simply one of the costs of doing business. Ganun talaga. Hindi nawawala yung ano na yan. So, pag nagpautang ka, talagang hindi siya babalik. Lalo na pag you are in yung mga business side, pag nagpautang yung business, kasi yung iba umaalis, tumatakbo. Ganun. So, ano ba ang pwede natin gawin dito sa mga bad debts na to? Usually yan, ini-estimate yan. So, sa isang 1 million, tingin ko kasi dito, sabi niya parang 2% na to, hindi na magbabayad. So, yun yung mga, ano natin, how do we compute for bad debts? So, we have two methods kung paano natin i-account yung bad debts na yan. We have allowance method, which is yung ginagamit natin ngayon. And we have direct write-off method. Sa allowance method, gagawa tayo ng isang account, which is allowance for doubtful account. Yung allowance for doubtful account na yan is deduction siya sa receivable. Okay. Kasi hindi mo pa naman sure kung hindi talaga makakolekta, di ba? So, i-allowance muna natin for doubtful account. If nakita mo na, ay, hindi na talaga, worthless na, wala na, hindi na siya makakolekta talaga, na tatanggalin na natin siya allowance. Talagang tatanggalin na natin yung receivables mo. Yung credit na siya. Ito kasi, yung allowance na to is, ina-estimate lang muna natin, ay baka may hindi mabayaran. So pag hindi nakabayad, tanggalin na siya sa utang. Kasi hindi na yun makakabayad. Kaya tinagay mo yan dyan sa utang mo ng 10 taon. Kung hindi na siya magbabayad, hindi na siya magbabayad. Okay? So, pag ito naman, di ba, ang nangyari dito, na-determine natin, ay, hindi na makakabayad. Pero anong nangyari, nakabayad. Pag ganun, Pag nakabayad, so ang gagawin na lang natin ay ibabalik muna natin yung receivables. So dito, gagawa ulit tayo ng i-reverse natin ito. So i-debit natin yung accounts receivable and allowance. Tapos, yung collection niya, tsaka tayo mag-recognize ng cash and itatanggalin na natin siya sa receivable pag nagbayad. So ito, allowance method. Ayan, naglagay tayo ng allowance, doubtful account. Itong doubtful account na to is expense ito. Pero itong allowance for doubtful account is part of our deduction siya sa ating receivables. The account are subsequently discovered to be worthless. Ayan, tinanggalan natin sa allowance kasi tinanggalan natin siya sa receivable talaga. Kaya lang naka-recover. So dahil naka-recover, ibalik natin sa receivable. Ito yung pinapaliwanag ko kanina. Tsaka natin i-receive yung cash. Yan siya. Yan yung sa allowance method. Under the direct write-off, pag direct write-off, ibawas na natin agad. So, dito sabi niya, direct write-off method requires a combination of bad debt loss only when the account proved to be worthless. So, wala tayong isi-set up na allowance dito. Pag worthless, dun, tanggalin na natin siya. So, here, sabi niya, pag nagkaroon tayo ng doubt na makukollect yung 30,000, walang entry kasi nga direct write-off. I-entryhan lang natin siya pag talagang worthless na ito. Bad debts and accounts receivable 30. Pag na-recover natin yung worthless na, so ibabalik natin siya sa receivable and then sa cash. Tsaka natin i-credit yung receivable. If recovery is subsequent to the year of write-off, direct write-off method is used. Recovery may simply be credited to other income. So, how are we going to present yung mga allowances na yan? Sa income statement, yung doubtful accounts, guys, yung doubtful account, this doubtful account to. Sabi ko kanina sa inyo, ano siya? Expense siya, diba? So, let's check. So, here, distribution costs, if the granting of credit and collection accounts are under the charge of sales manager, so doubtful account shall be considered as distribution costs. But if yung credit and collection natin is other than sales manager, dapat siya ay administrative expense. So, ayan, tapos na tayo. Ayan yung way on how are we going to measure receivables, then initial recognition, and then subsequent recognition. Papakita rin sa inyo here, we have how to audit receivables. Ito na yung last, konti lang naman din ito. Sa assertions ulit tayo. Sabi ko ang assertion, ito ay management responsibility. Pag may nakalagay sa financial statement na accounts receivable 1 million, ina-assert ng manager na yung 1 million na yon ay nag-exist or yung mga transaction regarding 1 million ay nangyari talaga. Okay? So, in existence, sabi niya, may 1 million talaga kami na receivable. Sabi ni auditor, okay, sige po. I will check po. To determine the receivable exceed and represent modify the obligation owned by company. So, siyempre, ito check mo, ito yung receivables nyo. So, I want to know ngayon, si auditor, objective niya, pag-check niya yung existence and occurrence, and also the rights and obligation. Kasi yung rights and obligation, tama ba? Dapat ba ikaw yung maningil? Dapat ba si company? May utang ba talaga sa'yo? Yun yung sa rights and obligation, kaya pareho lang. So, ang objective natin dito, titignan natin kung nag-exist ba talaga yung receivables. Or tayo ba talaga yung owner ng receivables natin na yun. So, ang audit procedure na pwede natin gawin, we have to obtain schedule of age, trade, and notes receivable, and reconcile it to the ledger. So, meron tayo kasi tinatawag na aging schedule. Yung nakalagay doon sa aging schedule is kung gaano nakatagal yung receivable, yung may-ari, gaano nakatagal yung receivables, ilan yung utang sa atin, parang gano'n. So ang gagawin, i-check na yun. Sa aging, so makikita mo kasi doon yung breakdown ng receivables, sino yung may utang sa atin, ilang buwan na, ilang taon na yung utang na yun. So i-check niya ngayon, ito yung aging ng ER mo, i-check natin versus sa aklat kung totoo ba na 1 million. So pwedeng tumawag ka doon sa mismong, dahil nakita mo yung schedule ng aging, may nakita ka doon ng mga pangalan nung may utang. Pwedeng tawagan mo, hello sir, ano to kasi, we audit kasi, pag audit kasi we are doing investigation. So, ang objective natin to determine kung nag-exist ba yung receivable. So, tatawag ka ngayon, sir, may dito kasi sa receivable ni ganitong company, meron po nakalagay dito na may utang daw kayo sa kanila. Totoo po ba yun? Or sabihin, sir, totoo po bang yung company nyo ay may utang sa ganitong company? So, if na-confirm siya doon, so, okay, di ba? Kung sinabi niya na wala, doon may problema si company. Inspect the notes on hand. Kasi meron tayong notes to financial statements. Doon makikita mo rin yung breakdown ng receivables. Perform analytical procedure to determine whether the recorded sales and receivable balance appear to be reasonable. So dito, pag perform analytical procedure, check mo yung sales. Sales, ito yung sales ko, ito yung collection. Yung hindi pa nakokolekta, yun dapat yung receivable. Ganun lang naman yun eh. So total sales minus total collection. Yung difference ng dalawa, yun yung dapat yung accounts receivable kasi yun yung hindi pa nakokolekta. Pag hindi yan tumugma dun sa nakalagay na accounts receivable sa aklat, merong problema yung accounts receivable. So if completeness naman, we will check kung this is to determine that all transactions relative to receivables have been properly. Ito naman, check natin, tama ba lahat ba ng receivables ay na-record? Lahat ba ng transaction pertaining receivables ay na-record? So, paano yon? Mag-test tayo ngayon ng sales, cut-off sales, and sales return to determine whether receivables are recorded in proper accounting period. So, baka kasi receivables ko siya, sales ko siya for the month of June, pero hindi ko siya na-record as receivable for the month of June. Baka July ko na siya na-record na receivable. So, i-check ngayon ni auditor, tama ba na dapat ito ay recorded on June or dapat ba ito ay recorded on July? So, ganon. So, pwede tayo gumamit ng cut-off on sales and sales return. And another, we have here valuation and allocation. Tama ba yung pag-record natin or ito, tama ba? In accordance with the PAS and PFRS ba? Yung ginawa natin receivable. Di ba may nakalagay nung kanina, how to present? Tama ba? In accordance with PSA ba or PFRS ba? Nakasunod ba sa PFRS and PSA yung ating receivables? So, ang audit procedure daw na pwedeng gawin doon para malaman ni auditor is to review collectibility of receivables and determine the adequacy of allowance for doubtful accounts. So yun nga, check kasi doon sa NRV natin, net realizable value method. Diba? Anong gagawin natin doon? Yung receivable minus allowances, yun yung trade receivables and which is according to the PFRS yun. So ngayon, i-check ngayon, tama ba yung ginawa, minus ba? Tama ba yung pag-set up niya ng allowance for doubtful account? So another is to recalculate the interest income from notes receivable. Sa assertions pa ulit, in presentation and disclosure. Sa presentation, tama ba na na-present ng maayos yung receivable? Yung trade and other receivables, na-present ba siya ng magkakasama? O hiniwalay-hiwalay? Then sa disclosures, lahat ba dapat ng i-disclose na receivable ay na-disclose siya? So dito, ang objective ni auditor is to determine receivables are properly presented and classified in balance sheet. So, check din kasi dito na yung auditor, dito rin sa presentation disclosure, check niya, tama ba na nasa current asset ng receivable na to? Tama ba na nasa non-current yung receivables? Here, ang procedure na pwedeng gawin is to evaluate financial statement presentation and disclosure of receivables. Other is to obtain written client representation regarding pledge, discount, assignment of receivable, and about receivables from office, directors, affiliate, or other related party. Ito is for the other receivables. Dapat may pwede daw tayong manghingi ng letter na nag-pledge sila talagang may utang kami sa company. So, ganon yung pag-audit natin ang receivable. We have assertions, ito yung audit objectives natin, ito yung mga dapat natin gawin regarding dun sa objectives natin na yan. Here is the aging, schedule of aging. Nakita nyo dyan, ito yung mga name ng customers, ito yung balance niya. Kailan na ba siya nautang? Kaya siya aging. Pag sinabi natin na aging, ilan na ba yung edad ng receivable? Pwedeng 1 to 60 days, 61 to 90 days, or over 90 days na siya. So, ayan. Sa notes receivable, ayan, makikita naman natin, may schedule naman siya. So, tingnan na lang yan. And then, ito is yung positive form. Ito, pag nagtumawag, ito na yung written communication letter na sinasabi ko dito na ito, na lahat ba dapat ng mga pinagkakautangan ay mag-send sila ng letter or hingan mo ng letter na nakalagay doon talagang may utang yung company nila sa company natin. So, ganyan po. So, nandito na lang muna yung aking accounts receivable. Then we're going to talk other receivables pa in the next videos natin. So, thank you so much for listening and God bless you all.